Yo, Counterattack podcast for myself, Daps. Guys, I said I'm going to give you something 5 days straight. So we're going to, let's see if I can do this. But if I do it, you guys got to interact with it as well, man. So, yeah, man. So today, obviously International Week, there's been no football on. I thought I'd give you a quick, maybe 10-minute video. And where there's been no football, I just wanted to go over some things that I've seen on social media. And so like, okay, every now and then I see something on social media and I'm like, do you know what? I don't like this. And for those of you that watched the interview with Jordan Cousins a couple of weeks ago, check it out if you haven't. It's on my channel. Jordan Cousins interview. He was at Stoke. Now he's at Cambridge. He was at Charlton. But yeah, just go and check it out if you haven't done so yet. But every now and then, I was telling him, that I see something online that I just don't like, and then it makes me question people online and their takes, and it's why I have a podcast where I come here and put my thoughts out, because some of the stuff that people come out with is just wild. So I think one of the main things that I saw today, let me read this to you. So you see how people don't like Arsenal fans. You see how people, 1 second. They don't like Arsenal fans. And this is the reason why. So an Arsenal fan, I'm not going to say the at, I'm not going to give them that much credit. He said, Saliba makes you realise how rubbish Koscielny was. Koscielny. Right, listen. I saw that, yeah, and more time when I see stuff like that, I just ignore. But you can't tell me Lauren Koscielny was rubbish and bad, and that is so bad. So my response to him was, and this is how you know I was triggered, because I don't even know this person. I said, goodness me, how quickly people forget. Koscielny was a really good defender for a good while and great for Arsenal. Don't let how it ended form your narratives, because Koscielny at his best, because if Koscielny at his best was around today, he'd easily be one of the best in the league. And if I'm being totally honest, I say that quite a lot, right? I need to not say that. But anyway, Koscielny, when I saw the tweet saying how, it made him realise how bad Koscielny was, I was just like, nah. Koscielny was a really, really good defender. And I don't know what football people were watching, but for a good couple of years, and I'm saying this, a good couple of years, Koscielny was one of the best in the league. You could even have an argument for top three at some point, not throughout the entirety, at some point. He started off a bit mad because I remember on his debut, I think he got sent off against Liverpool. It started off a bit mad, but you see, after that first season, Koscielny was reliable. He was one of the best, and Rio Ferdinand, I think, said it. I think Filthy Fellas even tried to pull him up on that, but he was actually one of the best. So you cannot come here and try to rubbish Koscielny or diminish what he did, because bar the last year where he struggled with injuries, if Koscielny was around today, one of our centre-backs right now would not be playing. And I'm putting that on everything. So I think when we talk about how, when we revisit or revision certain players' careers, I don't like how we just put them down and how we remember them for the bad moments. Because if you really watch football and you really take it in, you'll know that Koscielny was one of the best. And I back up what I said, that if he was around today at his best, he would be top 3 centre-backs in the league right now. And not only that, but one of Gabriel or Saliba would not be playing. And that's what I'm saying. And I stand on that. So let's not talk down on Lauren Koscielny. Let's not, because we have the shiny new model in Saliba, let's not act like, everything that came before him was rubbish or inadequate, because you're making it sound like it was like Mustafi or Socrates, or I've been there when we had man like, I was going to say Stepanos, but let me allow stepping off. You get me? I've been there when we had Sonderos and Seagon. Now, let me not even put dirt on Seagon's name because Seagon got us to Champions League finals. Do you know what I'm saying? So, oh no, Seagon didn't get it. Was that Sonderos? I think it might have been Sonderos. And then Drogba came and ended his career. But yeah, man. Guys, let me know what you think. Am I going too mad for saying that Koscielny would have been one of the best today? Or let me know if you think he was such a bad player that this person has gone to tweet out that it makes him realise how bad Koscielny was because we have Saliba now. And by the way, Saliba is top player. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's remember that the guy is still young and I can see his game. And even though I can see the potential and I can see what he's currently doing, I can see that he's not quite there yet. But for whatever reason, we're not allowed to be honest when it comes to Arsenal players. And I can see why people don't like a lot of Arsenal fans. So you lot let me know what you're thinking or whatever in regards to that. What else? So that was a very quick one. Also, okay, so looking at the fallout from yesterday's games in regards to the refereeing decisions, and obviously the games happened, we've won. I gave my breakdown on that. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. I released it yesterday. The referees have come out. Well, they've not officially come out, but like other referees, you know, Dermot Gallagher, there's one more on TalkSport, have said that Kovacic should have gone off. And look, mate, if we had lost that game and he should have gone off, we'd be fuming. Like, they need to sort it out. And I'm hearing that Michael Oliver, and I'm not like a conspiracy theorist and all of that stuff, but I'm hearing that Michael Oliver was one of the referees that recently went over to Saudi for some sort of friendly or something. And it's like, come on. You want to see the best in people, but the same people that made him go out there and paid him are the same people that own Man City. But obviously that's conspiracy theorists, and I really don't want to believe that. But they don't help themselves when they make such crazy decisions to not send Kovacic off. I don't know. I don't get it, but it needs to be sorted out because, like I said yesterday, we can't be every week. You know what? Let me tell you how bad it is. I think it's Sky that does refs watch every week, and every week there's 3 or 4 things, like major things that's on the docket. It should not be that way. It honestly should not be that way. Especially, you know what? If we're doing that and we don't have VAR, I can get it because humans get stuff wrong. But you would think that with VAR, and even me, I'm tired of talking about VAR. But you would think that with VAR, there's not going to be any stories to be had every week, but every week there's a big one to have. Not minor ones or why did VAR choose to go this way or overturn it or something like that. No, we've got some major decisions going wrong every week. And it's just, I'm just getting bored and sick and tired of it. So, yeah, let me see what else is on the docket right now. This is a very quick video, but I'm trying to give you something every day. Get in the comments, and because it is International Week, let me know what you want to talk about this week, because there's no football, so I'm going to run out of things to talk about unless it's like international football. Listen, Saka, I heard somewhere that Saka is joining up with the England team, but I also read somewhere that he's not. So hopefully he's not. We can't have him going out all the time. Oh, yeah, going out to play for England all the time. And it's about time that Arsenal started pulling out their players like Liverpool do, Man United do, Man City do. Like we need to start pulling our players out. Let them get their rest. And it'll do them good to have 3 weeks rest, or 2 weeks rest, or 3 weeks if you include this week. But yeah, no, very quickly, Gary Neville on his podcast reckons Man United, as he sees them now, won't finish top 5. And I've got to say, I kind of agree. At some point during the season, I expect Man United to go on one run. Rashford's going to come and show who he is, or someone's going to, there's going to be a run of games where the form is going to be excellent. And people are suddenly going to forget that United are bad and an awful team. They're going to suddenly forget and gas them up. But when that does happen, I need people to remember times like this, because this is the team. There's sometimes where teams are losing and you can be like, oh, they're a really bad team. And then there's times where teams are losing. It's just like, oh, they're just unlucky, but they're not a bad team. Like Man City. Man City have lost 2 in a row. And I've been seeing on Sky Sports News, they had Man City in crisis. And on Talksport, I was listening and they're like, oh, what's gone wrong at Man City? But the Wolves game, okay, they lost against Wolves. And then they lost against Arsenal. But Arsenal's not, it's not like they've lost 2 against teams that they really should be beating. Like, there's no crisis. Really and truly, they've lost 2 games and they're still only 2 points behind. So no, Man United aren't in that bracket. Man United are in the bracket of when they win, you always leave their games thinking, how the heck did they win that game? It's not like Man City where they lose and they're like, oh, how did they lose that? Nah. When Man United win, you always leave thinking, oh, they got lucky there. They're so bad. Do you know what I mean? And we're not talking about 1 or 2 games where you're just scraping a victory. We're talking about any victory they get, they very rarely look like they should have won that game throughout the game. And that's worrying. So when Gary Neville says that he doesn't think that they will finish in the top 5, I see it. Because you cannot go through this season like that. And if I look at last season to this season, I can't really say that I can see progression. I can't really say that I can see where they've evolved on last year. No, it's still the same old, same old. It's still the same old vibes. Like, I would expect more from Ten Hag, if I'm being honest. I would think that by now, he'd have his imprint on the team. He'd have his style of play that he wants to implement on the team. It might not be working. But you would expect to at least see that. And you're not even seeing that. So, yeah, top 5, I don't know. And whilst we're on the top 5, and we say top 5 because obviously Champions League next year is looking like it's going to be 5 teams from England that get to go. So we're talking about top 5. But whilst we're on top 5, I remember even top 4. Let me stick to top 4. I remember at the beginning of the season when people were giving their predictions and people were saying Arsenal were going to finish outside of the top 4. And I'm okay with people having those predictions, honestly. I just didn't understand the reasoning behind it. I didn't understand the reasoning people had for Man United finishing above Arsenal. I don't even mind if you have City and Liverpool finishing above Arsenal. Even if they had Chelsea, listen, but they had Arsenal finishing outside the top 4. And if you're one of those people, please explain to me in the comments why you felt that was going to happen. I really want to know the reasoning. I really want to know what people saw in Manchester United that they were going to challenge for the league this year at the beginning of the season. And it's your predictions. My predictions at the beginning of the season were that City were going to finish first, Arsenal were going to finish second. I obviously hope Arsenal finish first and City finish second. But that was my, take, because Man City are so far ahead of everyone. And then you've got everyone else battling out. So I really did think it was going to be a shootout between Arsenal and Liverpool for second place, or who can push Man City the furthest. So I don't know. Like, let me know, guys, what you lot think, and yeah, we'll see. But I don't know what else there is in the world of football. You guys, let me know what you want me to discuss. I'm just going online to see what other football stories there are. Who's a good person to look who tweets a lot about football? Let me look at Fabrizio, what he's saying. Oh my gosh, Jared Bowen, 7-year deal. What is going on there? Yeah. To be honest, if Jared Bowen sees that he wants to stay at West Ham and West Ham are happy with him, then sign the 7-year deal. Because really and truly, no disrespect, if you're looking at Jared Bowen, very, very good player, very, very good player. Would you say that his level would be top 4 level? Can you see him getting into a top 4 team and holding down a regular starting place like he is at West Ham? Can you see that? I personally can't. I'm not saying he can't play for a top 4 team, but he will just end up being a bit part player. So at West Ham, he knows he's going to play week in, week out. He probably loves living in the East End. He loves being in London in general. Probably, I don't know. So, and a 7-year contract. And I'm assuming if you're going to tie yourself down for that long, it's going to be healthy compensation. So if that is the case, fair play to him. Sign that contract. 7 years a bit long, but at the same time, the security 7-year contracts bring, and in regards to your family and whatnot, fair enough. Sign up that contract. signed that contract, and congratulations to him if it is, all true. And there was something else I was gonna say as well on that. No, totally forgotten. Bukayo Saka. Oh, okay. Bukayo Saka has withdrawn from the England squad due to injury. Oh, good. Thank God for that. Saka was assessed by the England medical team, and it was decided the player would continue his rehabilitation at the club. You see, this is what I'm saying, yeah? Why did he have to go there? Because if they turn around and say, no, you can play, he'll play. Whereas a lot of the time, all you hear from other people, other clubs, is such and such player has withdrawn from England, not go to be assessed by the medical people. So I don't know. I don't really like that. I don't really like that. Oh, so Lukaku, who's actually is actually doing well for Roma right now. He scored 7 goals. Apparently, Chelsea have an agreement with him that he can leave for 37 million next year. That's it. Like, so that's the fee that they have fixed for him. That for 37 million, he's allowed to go. Which is cool. He even said, I worked a lot this summer. Many people have talked about me. I don't talk and I show what I'm worth on the pitch. Mourinho, we have a special relationship. He knows my family. I have faith in him and vice versa. Romelu has scored 7 goals in 7 games he started. Big him up, man. I like Lukaku. I think that people give him a hard time. I think that no matter how good he does, people will always wait for that moment where he's maybe not doing great. And they'll be like, Lukaku. But over the course of the season, if you look at numbers that, not the course of the season, sorry, over the course of his career, when it's all said and done, if you look at the numbers that Lukaku put up consistently over his career, even if you do it from start to now, look at his career, you can't look at Lukaku as anything other than a top striker. Yes, he has his moments. Yes, he has times where he's off form. And when he's off form, he absolutely stinks. But generally speaking, if you've got a striker like Lukaku, you're gonna score goals. And I think that people get too involved sometimes in the whole style of a player. And I know certain styles are needed for certain teams, but certain teams just need a goal scorer. Forget styles, you just need a goal scorer. And I wish we go back to those days where we just recognize a striker for scoring goals and not everything else. There are certain players who bring other things to the table, and we can praise that when it's necessary. But when it comes to people like Lukaku, if he ain't got nothing else but he can score goals, I'm alright with that. Because I'm old school. Same way I like my right backs to first and foremost be able to defend, which is why I'll always defend Wan-Bissaka. I like my strikers for me to call them a top striker, they have to score goals. Get me? One of my best examples of striker just on scoring goals is Jermaine Defoe. Listen, you see Jermaine Defoe, yeah? He never had time for nothing apart from get the ball, bang. Corners, targets. That's it, targets. That's all he knew. And people used to talk about, I don't think people spoke about it. Like, hold up play, I don't think he was bothered about it. No one thinks of Jermaine Defoe for hold up play. No one thinks of him for link up play. No one thinks about him for his passing or tech, even though he's got mad tech. But we don't care, because in that era, it was literally just about, as a striker, can you score? And he did that. So no one cared about anything else. And I just wish we go back to that, where we look at players and just be like, look at striker and be like, look, boom, he scores goals. He ain't got nothing else. And I'm fine with that. I remember Francis Jeffers, old school, I'm putting a name out the hat. He was at Everton and he was just banging goals. In fact, let me not even use Francis Jeffers, because when he came to Arsenal, it was a bit, But Pippo Inzaghi was a player who, if I'm being totally honest, he didn't care about anything else apart from scoring. They used to say he was born offside because he used to play on the shoulder of the last man. And the thing about Pippo, he wasn't interested in anything other than getting the ball in that box and shooting targets and putting the ball in the back of the net. If Pippo Inzaghi was around today, he'd get a bag of goals. But also, people would rubbish him. People would talk down on Pippo because he's not aesthetically pleasing on the eye. But as a striker of that ilk, you don't need to be pleased on the eye. The only thing he wants to do is put the ball in the back of the net. And we don't really have many strikers like that anymore. I think Osimhen is a striker like that. He's got bits to his game, but he's only interested in just lashing that ball in that net. And the point, I've come away from the whole Lukaku thing, but I just think Lukaku gets a bad rep because of everything else. They talk about his touch, they talk about, you know, his hold-up play sometimes, they talk about his running style, they talk about everything but the fact that he scores goals. So, yeah. Okay, cool. But yeah, that was a quick one. Let me know what other random topic you want me to talk about in the comments. And also, I'm about to test out all the stuff to go live. So if you guys see me, I hope it works. I'm about to test it out. I hope it works. And if it does work, we will be going live. And yeah, that's it from me today. I'm out.